That's an interesting question. I think that I've been kind of toying with the idea for a while. A few years ago, I did a theatre piece where I wrote a piece on an American serial killing couple. I wrote a monologue, and I actually got a whole heap of different actors to do it at a little theatre festival. So I did it, my daughter did it, a friend of mine, Jeff Richards, did it, and we all did the same piece but in incredibly different ways. But we never filmed it, and I've always been interested by the kind of darker side, and being involved in Girls Act Good, and I think that some of the work that we've done, with real women in the past, I just thought that this was something that hadn't been explored, particularly Australian stories of women that had been incarcerated and executed. So I thought, without judgment, I thought that it was important stories to communicate, particularly to a new generation, hopefully, of watchers that might be inspired to find out a little bit more about the real people behind the stories. Because Girls That Good is such a strong base of creative people, and I've been part of Girls That Good for quite a while now, and I really think that the workshop part of it is really exciting, and sharing skills is really exciting. I've been mentoring a couple of the girls in their own individual writing projects, and I just thought it would be a really fun thing to do. A lot of the girls in the group have been talking about wanting to write stuff, but not necessarily knowing where to start. And I'm developing a new process where you really kind of hone into what it is you have to say as a writer and a creative, and how you want to say it, and how the work is really personal to you, and get you to do a lot of that almost kind of pop psychology, kind of what is it that means something to you, what you think society is, and kind of I've been playing with this idea, and I thought that Girls That Good was the perfect place to kind of use the wonderful group of women as kind of guinea pigs and see if anything would come of it. Well, I think that the first step is basically getting in touch with who you are as a person and starting to write that down. So the first step was really asking a few important questions about what you love. What kind of work do you really get inspired by? Because I think that's because what you love, and then refining those down to the moments that excited you and what it was about that work that really excited you, and that starts to look at your own artistic desire, what you want to capture in your work. That's part of your artistic process. If you're not creating work that you really want to create, then I think there's no point in doing it. So you have to get in touch with yourself and go, what is it right now? Because yesterday is already gone, and the things that you liked yesterday you may not like today. So you have to keep getting in touch and going, what is it now that excites me about the things that I've seen? And then you take that a little bit further and you go, well, who am I as a person? What are the things that I think need to be changed in society? What are the things that I want to speak about in our society as I see it now? And that's kind of your writing premise. That's what you're writing about. And then even looking even deeper inside yourself and going, well, as a human being, where do I feel that I am flawed? Where do I feel that I make mistakes? Where do I feel that I don't, reach my own expectations? And that's the things that you can really explore in your characters, particularly when you're doing, a solo piece like this that you're already performing, because it was wonderful. We had that experience with the group where everybody was talking about how they think they're flawed, and all of the other women in the group are going, yep, because that gives you identification with your audience, because the things that you think are wrong about you are the things that other people think are wrong about them, and it is a great way to forge a connection. So we started with that, and then I just got them to do a lot of research on the characters and find the characters that spoke to them and choose the characters that they identified with the most, and then they talked about why that was, And then we did a workshop on character building, which was all again about this, like finding that inner meaning of the character and what the character's trying to pursue and what the character's demons are, and you know what the dark side of the character is and what they look like if they're redeemed. And I got them to do that, and from that I gave them a structure that they could use or not use, where they could take the workshop that they did with the characters and they could actually see how that could create a story, rather than having to create a story going, one day this person woke up and then an ant hit them on the head. It's a story that is driven from the actual characters and what the characters are needing, and the flaws and failings and strength characters, and how that can drive a story, which I'm really excited about. So because I think it makes more organic stories. And then basically I got them to write a whole heap of pieces about how the world sees them. So I got them to write a newspaper article, how they see themselves, and then I got them to write the truth. So I got them to write a confession to somebody that was important to them, and a diary piece, I think, but similar kind of stuff. So from those 3 point of views, you can basically piece together your story. And then I got them to do a draft. I think that, a personal emotional journal is really important. It's an actor's tool more than anything else. I think it's something that you should always do, but specifically when you we use the character exercise to find out their strength traits and their demons, and from that, you know, it's whether these characters are driven by shame, whether they're driven by pride, whether they're driven by envy, whether they are seeking, you know. And then I got all of the creatives to keep a journal to remember those moments in their own life when they felt shame, or they felt jealousy, or they felt love, or they felt anger, and to write them in as much detail as possible, because I think the best writing comes from those small, beautiful details. So one, it's practice in finding that within your writing style, finding those small details that mean so much when you see them on screen or read them in a book. But also, again, it's just keep connecting the work to yourself, so that you're mining that wonderful vein of your own kind of emotional and spiritual life. I started off by going to RMIT. So if you think that you've got stories in your head but you can't get them out, find a way to get them out. There are ways. There's some really great books that you can start off with, or you can go and do a course at the CAE, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to make that jump from having the ideas in the head, because when you get them out, it's like being a sculptor. The ideas are always terrible. So, you know, you need to get those terrible ideas out so you have something, and then you can like chip away at it. And I think sometimes to know how to chip away and to find that really good stuff underneath, sometimes you need a little bit of guidance, whether that comes from a friend who's writing or a course or anything like that. But start journaling is the good point. Start making story notes, and when you get to the point where you really want to lay something down, get some help.